Hey, welcome back to the channel, Weather Junkies. I'm Greg Majeski, your personal weatherman, bringing you the weather without all that social media hype for your update on September the 1st, 2024. So let's go ahead and take a look at those latest weather headlines, shall we? As we're looking at a marginal risk of severe weather covering the East Coast, basically from about the Northeast heading on down toward near Atlanta, Georgia for today, just a marginal risk. We're going to be looking at an early taste of fall in the air. Definitely continue to see that trend here over the next 6 to 10 days. So a very nice cool down in the east, but staying pretty warm out in the west. And we're talking about a tropical scramble, man. We got a forecast that's kind of all over the map. I'll try to explain why that is here coming up in this edition. Now, before we get into this, first, I want to thank all the new subscribers to the channel. Thank you very much for joining us. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please consider hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. Leave me a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. It does help with the YouTube algorithm as we try to grow the most effective weather channel here on the YouTube platform. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at that current satellite imagery here for this morning. We got a frontal system back here. It's going to be a beautiful day up here across the Midwest, especially out toward the west. It'll be a little warm, but not too bad. And the front slowly seeking southward there across areas of New England. But south of this boundary, we may see some active thunderstorms later this afternoon. Wet and rainy conditions continue along the Louisiana coast, as well as a few thunderstorms there off the east coast of Florida. But really, the bulk of the nation not looking too bad here on your Sunday, on your Labor Day weekend, looking pretty good. Here's that frontal system that's kind of stalled, waiting for this next reinforcing shot to come down. Look at these temperatures here in the high plains on your Sunday morning in the 40s, looking very nice. Kind of warm and humid here across the eastern seaboard, but don't worry, relief is on the way. We're going to get that fall-like air really for most of the eastern half of the United States, but you folks in the west, it's going to be hot. It's going to be dry, definitely heading into later this week, so get ready for that as well. Right now, looking at the current hazards across the nation, really looking very quiet except for the heat advisories up here across Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, but a couple of red flag warnings there, but otherwise looking pretty quiet across the nation here on your Sunday. Again, East Coast, we saw some thunderstorms here off the eastern seaboard. If you have any plans to head on toward the beach here, toward the Space Coast, it's going to be a little bit rainy and damp over this way here for today. Most of this offshore, definitely not a good fishing morning or a beach day, to say the least, here along the east coast of Florida for right now. Hey, our weather city of the day is Branson, Missouri. Current temperature there of 70 degrees right now, and it's going to be kind of warm and steamy there still in Branson, Missouri. It's a pretty good vacation destination. I'm sure a lot of folks are there for the Labor Day weekend. They're looking at partly cloudy skies for today and a high temperature this afternoon of 89 degrees. And hey, if you would like to go ahead and have your city be recognized as the weather city of the day, and you know of a good webcam in your area, perhaps on YouTube or some other source, please just go ahead and post the link down below, and we'll go ahead and we'll use it for a future broadcast. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the latest on that severe weather outlook here for today. We do have a couple things we're going to be talking about. Again, really today is going to be the main concern here, and the real concern here is in that dark green area. That's where we're going to be watching here for today. So we're talking about just a marginal risk of severe weather. The big threat in this area, that dark green, is going to be basically some strong gusty winds. You get some lightning, some small hail, but really nothing too bad there. It'll be very isolated when we're talking about a marginal risk for severe weather for today. Again, the wind threat will be the big threat here for today. Again, that dark green, thus the regional area there. That's what you can expect here for your day one outlook. As far as we go into Labor Day itself, as we look at your day two outlook, just a general thunderstorm threat, really not looking bad here for most of the country. Again, we're just looking here across the southeast. We're looking for thunderstorms, and maybe a nice thunderstorm out here in the west, but otherwise looking pretty quiet there for your Labor Day. And as we go into the new work week, going to day three, doesn't really change all that much. Again, the southeast as well as the Intermountain West, looking at just a general thunderstorm threat. Now, I will advise, obviously, with daytime heating, you can, and especially summertime, you can never rule out an isolated thunderstorm, but nothing organized, nothing widespread to worry about here on the severe weather outlook here over the next 3 days. Just that marginal risk for today. And so recapping that once again, so we're talking about areas about New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Charlotte, Boston, even getting close to the Atlanta area as well, expecting just that marginal risk for severe weather for today. All right, of course, the big thing on everybody's mind, been talking about in social media here for days, is the tropics. You know, we are now in the month of September. This is the peak month for hurricane activity. Technically, the date is September the 10th, all right? So we are into that time of year where things are supposed to get cranking out in the tropics. It was unusually quiet for the whole month of August. Only had 2 named storms. Average is typically 4, and things are supposed to get going as we go into September. And as a result, we do have 3 areas of disturbed weather out there. The one that's way out in the Atlantic, that one right there, I'm not too concerned about right now. That one is not really a concern. The one that's 40%, that's the one that's most pressing. And that one's going to be a tough one, folks, because it's all about timing and position of troughs. I'm going to explain that here in a little more detail. Anybody tells you, hey, we're going to get a major hurricane that's going to be coming into the Gulf of Mexico, there's no absolutes on this. I mean, I think we're going to get a hurricane. I think that's looking likely. Where exactly it's going to go remains to be seen, and we're probably at least I'd say probably at least 5 days away before we really got a good idea where this thing's going to go for right now. So our next named storm will be Francine, and we could possibly be looking at Gordon too. Francine and Gordon are the next 2. We're way behind where we were last year. Last year we were already on the K storm, so we're way behind as far as the number. And I don't think we're going to get anywhere near the number that was forecasted unless something crazy happens. And it's already been a crazy season, so I guess it's possible, but I think we're going to come up short on the 25 named storms I think was predicted at the beginning of the season. Now, looking out here in the satellite imagery right now for this morning, again, it doesn't look all that impressive. This is the infrared imagery. This is the area here, and you got the other one back here, and it just no real big organized clusters of storms out there for the moment, all right? It just doesn't look all that impressive at all for right now, but I think as we go through time, especially the one that's closer here to the islands sitting right here, the Windward and Leeward Islands right in there, again, we will start to see some sort of potential development, but it's going to be slow. Some of the reasons for this out there is we've still been fighting some Saharan dust out in that area. As it progresses closer to the Caribbean and gets into more away from that negative influence, I think we'll see some things begin to change in that arena. All right, and obviously with those troughs moving, those tropical waves moving into some very warm waters, that's of most concern. Remember, what fuels hurricanes and tropical systems are very warm water. So we're talking 30 to 31 degrees Celsius water temperature. That's about 85 to 87 degrees Fahrenheit. That's bath water, folks. That is stuff that these storms can definitely feed off and can strengthen very rapidly if given the opportunity. Now, here is the European ensemble. This looks at various model runs here, kind of checking what's going on. There's a couple things I see with this I do want to point out here. So let me go to my interactive mode here on this one. I want to stop this right at the end, and I want to try to explain this a little bit. So let me go ahead and stop this right here, and I want to take this right to the end. So there's a couple solutions here for that tropical wave that's moving off here toward the west. Okay, a couple of things that we're looking at. So what we're looking at here is most of the models want to drive this from the European want to just drive this thing into Mexico, and the reason for that is it may miss the trough. Then there's another one that says the trough's going to pick it up, and we're going to turn it to the north and bring it into the Gulf of Mexico. That means the northern tier of the Gulf of Mexico from Louisiana over to Florida. We'll need to watch that. Then there's a third solution that says, you know what's going to get into the Bay of Campeche, and the steering currents are going to completely collapse, and it's just going to stall there. So those are the 3 scenarios according to the UNCERTAINITY ensemble model showing that. You notice this other disturbance out here. As I was calling it a fish storm, which I know John Hope, God bless you, God rest your soul. I know you never call it that, but this thing's going to pretty much stay out in the Atlantic. So that's so it's this westerly wave here, this one here, that's of the most concern. And those are the 3 solutions. Does it go into Mexico and cut across? Does it stall in the Bay of Campeche, or does it make a turn to the right and go to the north? This far out, still too early to call right now. Okay. So we have to watch this very closely over this upcoming week to see how things are going to progress. Let's switch on over to the model here. I want to show this again through the European model, the overnight model again. The area that we're watching closely here is this little disturbance. You kind of can see it here in the upper levels right here. And what I'm watching, again, is how is this thing going to interact with that trough that's coming this way. Let me clear this out real quick, plus that out. Watch that little disturbance as it gets over to the Yucatan. And basically what the European is saying, the timing, again, timing is everything, that this new trough that's coming down here across the United States is going to miss this. It's going to miss it. So it says it's going to miss that trough and it's going to move into Mexico. So that's what the European model is saying. It's going to go into there, miss that big trough that's coming down, and it's just going to cross. So that's what the European model. Now the American GFS model, it's saying, hold on, my friend, not so fast. So let's look at the American GFS model. You want to look at we'll compare the 0Z to 0Z runs here. So let me make sure I'm on the 0Z run. It's doing a little bit different here because we're looking at the upper levels. Okay, same disturbance, same general solution going toward Friday. But it's saying, nope, we're going to keep that trough's going to come down, and we're going to pick this thing up, and we're going to steer this thing northward. Look what this thing does. So it's developing a hurricane and bringing it northward and bringing it up near, say, Mobile, Alabama, going in towards September 11th. So, like I said, we got a couple of different solutions out here as we're watching, as we've got this thing coming on through, and then this thing makes a turn to the north as we go toward the 11th. So there's no absolutes here. We've got three different solutions we're looking at. So now I lean more toward the European. I'll be upfront and honest with you. I prefer the European model, but you can't discard what the American GFS model is doing here, as it's bringing something up into that area there, getting up toward Mobile as we head toward September 11th of all days, to see a potential hurricane making a landfall there along the coast. So again, we'll watch that very closely. Let's go ahead and switch this over now to the American regional model here, as we're going to take a look at how we're going to see things progress here. Once again, going back over to the European, we go to the North American model here. Hold on one second. We'll switch over here to the continental United States, and we're going to switch this over to back over to the European model. Okay, we're going to watch the things as they progress here as far as systems across the country. So we're going to do a little reset here. Here we go. All right, so here we go with that frontal system coming on down here for your south here on your Sunday afternoon. So by later this afternoon, we're going to have this frontal boundary that's going to be clearing the eastern seaboard. Some nice cool air will be filtering in here across the northeast here on your Sunday afternoon. Again, we'll see some scattered air mass thunderstorms here across the deep south, especially areas of Alabama and Georgia that desperately need the rainfall right now. So that's a welcome sight. We're going to break those temperatures as well. But one thing I'm not seeing is we're not seeing any major storm systems across the U.S. for this upcoming week, okay? Still going to be warm and steamy across the southeast, but we're getting a bit of a break here across the east. We're going to definitely see cooler temperatures here across the deep south. Those 90s are going to get beat back. We're going to see some cool air coming down, and then we'll see another shot coming down. Here's our next front. As we look, and we switch this over to the 0Z, sorry, we're all the way out. And our next system coming down here, and this is the one obviously that's going to miss that, the European says is going to miss that tropical disturbance. There's also a piece of energy that's going to accelerate out ahead of this next system going into the following weekend there as well. So we'll clear that out, and again, we're looking at Friday. This is Friday morning, and as we're going to see this thing kind of develop a low, looks like a low here in New England, here going into your Saturday. So a pretty good storm system here across New England. We're getting a nice little shot of some nice cool air coming in on the backside of this thing going through the 7th, and that's going to bring in below normal temperatures here across basically the eastern third of the United States in the wake of that system. The only caveat on this forecast is going to be dependent on that hurricane, because hurricanes can make big changes to patterns if we do get one that makes a curve into the Gulf, and then we'll see what that may change there. But it looks like we get a nice cool down here on the backside of this system. Again, you folks out here in the West Coast, you're out here in the West, you're going to be baking in the heat. It's going to be dry. It's going to be sunny above normal temperatures. That's going to continue to be in your cards out there for that duration. So just beware of that. Folks in the East will be getting an early taste of fall, to say the least. And as we go, this takes us all the way out to Wednesday. Again, no major storm systems going in toward September the 10th. But again, hurricane makes a turn, like the GFS is saying, we got a different story. So forecast next week looks pretty good. I think pretty uniform going into next weekend. Beyond that, all bets are off. We'll have to see what happens with that tropical out in the tropics to see how things are going to progress. Let's go look over here to the temperature map here as we're going to switch gears here. And I need to go ahead and switch this to the zeros, the latest run here. So let me switch this over for you real quick. I want to make sure we have the latest and greatest. We don't like to have the old stuff here. So let's switch this up. Here we go. All right, we're looking at our high temperatures here for this afternoon. Again, here we'll stop this at 21Z. Again, pretty warm and steamy here across the southeast, to say the least. You're looking at 90s down here, 90s big, even hundreds out in the southwest. Very warm and steamy out into Arizona and Southern California, interior sections of California looking pretty warm. But not looking too bad there for areas in up here toward the up into areas of New England and into the Midwest. I mean, you're looking 72 degrees. I got 68 near Chicago this afternoon, 72 near 70 degrees near Buffalo. I mean, it's very nice there. 72 degrees in Minneapolis. I mean, just very nice fall-like air there across the northern tier. Let's go and take this into your Monday. We'll go into Labor Day. We'll look at the Monday afternoon highs as well. Again, still pretty steamy there in the southeast. Also seeing steamy conditions there across the kind of the inner mountain region here, and up the high plains, seeing some 90s there, and we're boiling here in the southwest as well. Still hot and steamy here across the southeast, but don't worry, I do have some relief coming your way in the southeast as well as we look ahead for this upcoming week. It's coming, so just be patient. It will be coming. So let's go ahead and take this out till Tuesday. Check out the Tuesday's highs. Again, we start to break down those temperatures. Notice that we're in the 80s now back into Atlanta instead of the 90s. Still warm and steamy out here in the foothills of the Rockies and the plains, with a lot of 90s out here. We've got 100s here across the southwest. Obviously, the interior of California looking pretty hot in the 100-degree temperature as well. Going forward here as we go into your Wednesday afternoon high temperatures, again, we're saying goodbye to the 90s. They're all gone. We got precipitation and we got cooler temperatures here across the southeast. Hey, look at DC, 74 degrees there, 74 degrees up in New England. That looks pretty nice and great indeed. 77 in Chicago. Still a little warm and steamy out toward Denver, so it's sitting in the 90s out here on the foothills a little bit here on your Wednesday. We'll take us out to Thursday, check out the Thursday's highs, and again, starting to warm up a little bit here out ahead of that next system, so temperatures are starting to rebound a little bit here, as we'll be watching another cold front that'll be coming down here out ahead of this. But boy, is it hot and steamy out in the southwest. 113 out in Phoenix. Yikes, that is hot, folks. Very, very hot. And then finally wrapping up your work week ahead as we'll go ahead and take out the high temperatures here on your Friday. We'll stop it on Friday for today. And again, you're saying, boy, you can see that, definitely see that cool air making its presence felt. As you'd see here, we got 60s for high temperatures here coming down into the Great Lakes. And this will be charging into the New England and into the south. High temperature on Friday, at least right now, showing 70 degrees. There is a little bit of a wedge that'll set up here across the the Appalachians. That's when you get cool, dry air coming down the eastern half of the Appalachians. So unusually cool across the deep south. And it's warming up here a little bit here across Texas and Oklahoma in the 90s. But boy, they sweltering in the heat out here in the west. Boy, I mean, a lot of 90s and 100s out there as we wrap up the work week here on your Friday. So just get ready for the flip-flop of temperatures. It's coming your way. That's just one of those things you got to deal with, especially when you get closer to fall. So let's go ahead and take a look at the latest here as far as the climate outlook is concerned. Again, this is what we're showing there on the models. They're all pretty much in agreement for September 6th through the 10th, with below normal temperatures out here across basically eastern half of the United States. But we're going to swelter out here in the west in response to this, and not really changing that much going 8th to the 14th. So we're starting September, first half of the month. The east is going to stay below normal. Out in the west, we're going to bake in the heat during that period. Precipitation-wise, 6th to the 10th, very, very quiet here across the high plains. We're just looking below normal precipitation there. Above normal here on the east coast. Again, my only caveat to this precipitation outlook is what happens out in the tropics remains to be seen. That could change this very quickly. If we get any kind of landfalling hurricane here going up the eastern seaboard, that could go up quite a bit to way above normal. We'll see what happens with that. And looking again from 8th to the 14th, bulk of the country very quiet. Above normal precipitation west coast and above normal precipitation here across the southeast. So that's what's going to do it here for today. We got some questions we got to watch. We got some storm systems we got to watch. We've got some cooler area in the east, heat in the west, and of course the tropics. Going to give me a bit of a headache, but I'll tell you, we're going to watch it closely. We got 3 different solutions. Again, just to rehash this again, it can either go into Mexico, it can stall in the Bay of Campeche, or it can turn northward into the northern Gulf of Mexico. So all interests along the Gulf states from Texas over toward Florida need to go ahead and just watch this one closely. Again, beware of social media out there. There's no absolute forecast on this. We'll get a little better idea once we finally get a depression formed out in the Atlantic or in the Caribbean, wherever it finally develops, and then the models will kind of do a better job on that. But we don't have an absolute solution on this. Again, I think we'll know more as we head forward into this new work week. Hopefully by Thursday or Friday, we'll have a better idea of what this next potential tropical system is going to do. All right, that's your update here on your Sunday. You guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. And before I let you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel. You got to do that. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you'd like to get future updates like these. All right, that's it for now. Bye, guys.